Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this video is entitled Tales from the Flight Deck, also known as Captain Ron Stories. Now, not the Kurt Russell, husband of Goldie Hawn, Captain Ron, that you may have seen the movie. These are my stories. Now, we were having a terrible snowstorm in Chicago, and I'm in Denver. It's beautiful in Denver, but we're going to go to Chicago, and we have a ground stop because of the delay. All right. They didn't board the people, which of course is good. But out in the gate area, I come up, and as I approach the gate area, Bob comes up to me. Now I know his name was Bob because that's what was embroidered on his belt, and he had a big cowboy hat, and he had one of those big silver belt buckles. So this was Bob. Bob was kind of a cowboy from Denver. He looks at me and says, "I hate you guys." And I looked at it and I said, "Sir, you're absolutely right. I take total responsibility. When I got up this morning, I sacrificed a small animal to the snow god, and obviously that wasn't enough. I should have sacrificed a much larger animal." He looked at me for a second, and I wasn't quite sure what he was going to do. I didn't know if he was going to haul off and hit me or what. But he broke out in an absolute big laugh. And then we kind of laughed about it, and he went and sat back down. And the delay went on for many hours. And every time I would come back to the gate area, he would look at me and he would just start laughing. And of course, the other people around, they had seen this whole thing, so they knew what had transpired. And the people were reasonably happy. No big problem. We finally got underway and got to Chicago a few hours late, but everybody seemed to be relatively happy, as good as you could expect. All right. So I'm captain on the 777. We're in San Francisco. We're going to go to Chicago. Everything is just going great. We're on time. We push back, start the engines, taxi on out. I get about 1,500 feet, and ground says, you're going to need to pull over. We're on an indefinite ground stop to O'Hare. And I go, you got to be kidding. There was some unrelated technical issue that halted all traffic, so we were stuck. So I pulled into the ramp area. I shut down the engines, and I made my first PA announcement to the people, and I said, "Folks, the good news is we didn't run out of gas. Bad news is they put us on an indefinite delay." Of course, you could hear the moan. This was an A model, so I had a little bit over 300 people in back there, and even with the cockpit door closed, you could hear the moan. So, well, United had just had some marketing individual decide that our motto, "Fly the Friendly Skies," which is a motto that people would kill for, was just not good enough, and he got it changed to "It's time to fly." Well, not all airline mottos endure the test of time. The showing the flight attendants and using the motto, I won't name the airline, you probably know it, that "we really move our tails for you." That just doesn't track nowadays. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I said to the people, I pick up the PA, and I said, "Well, folks, our motto here at United Airlines is 'Fly the Friendly Skies.'" And they go, "What? Oh, wait a minute. My co-pilot said that's not our motto." "What is it?" "Oh, okay. Our motto is 'It's time to fly.' We just don't tell you what time that might be." That got a good laugh. And I said, "But I'm trying to push for the motto that I endorse, which is, we're not happy until you're not happy." Now, moving backward in time, we're on a 27, and we're in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and we're going to go to Chicago. Well, Chicago weather is good, but the weather in Cedar Rapids is not so great. Now, a lot of airports, you can take off with forward visibility of just a few hundred feet. Unfortunately, Cedar Rapids didn't have adequate visual references, markings, things like that, so we needed 1,600 feet, and it just wasn't going to make it. And the fog was really holding in quite strongly for quite a while. We ended up taking a several-hour delay, but I like to engage the passengers, so I'm standing in the front area of the cabin, and I say, "Well, folks, how about if we take a vote here? It's below takeoff minimums. It's not legal for us to take off, but what the heck? Let's go. Let's go. Who's with me?" And nobody except this one guy way in the back raises his hand and says, "I want to go. I want to go." And he's telling his wife and his kids to raise their hands. also. And the people were looking back at him like, is this guy crazy? And I was a little shocked. I said, well, I was just kidding about that. There's only one vote that really counts on this airline, and that's mine, that counts on this airplane, and that's mine. And I say we don't go. Moving in backward in time, I'm a co pilot on the 737. We had a delay. We get into Chicago. The captain picks up the PA and says, well, folks, we're sorry about the delay. There's really no one to blame for the delay. Of course, I'm sitting in the right seat, and I say loud enough to be heard over the inner PA. I said, "Tell him it's the co-pilot's fault." Little pause, and he says, "Okay, it's the co-pilot's fault." Well, you could hear the people laugh. So one thing fun about being a captain, and I was a captain for 25 years, which was much longer than I really deserved. I have total of 36 years seniority at United, although 4.5 of that was spent in furlough. And so it's 31 years of actually working for the company, and 25 of that 31 years was as captain, which is much more than any one person really deserves. Although the people coming on now are being hired into some fairly senior positions. The right seat of the 777. I was hired on as the wonderful position of third officer, third person in the 737, which was a totally ridiculous position, and I'm glad they got rid of it. Um, but anyway, uh, it's also kind of interesting. I was the youngest one in my class. We had the age 65 extension, but I was looking at the seniority list and I didn't realize I was 3 years younger than anybody else in my class. And they had all gotten the cutoff, and they had all gone out at 60, and I was able to stay another 5 years to 65. And I was the youngest one in my class, and I was on the tail end of the hiring boom back in 78, 79. So I didn't think, I'd get very senior or hold a captain position for very long, but it worked out very fortunate for me, and I really had an enjoyable career. Thanks for watching.